Time to talk Ohio State football. We got Steve Hellwagon on the line from 247's Bucknuts, where he is a senior Big Ten writer, talking Ohio State football, of course, with the Buckeyes nearing the spring game just a few weeks away. Steve, how you doing tonight?
Doing great, Mark. What's going on?
Well, let's talk up this football team. Fortunately for Ohio State fans, not negative news coming out of camp. Things seem to be humming along as expected for the most part. We did receive news here in the last day or so that Josh Myers has been moved to center and should be the favorite to win the job. But it appears as though, if you could kind of review just the overall look of the offensive line, that there's a lot of decisions to be made.
Yeah, it is a little bit of a state of flux, I guess, on the offensive line. They have 11 scholarship linemen who are in camp right now for the spring, and they've got 5 more coming for this summer and will be with the team in the fall. So it'll be great competition in the fall, but really the guys who are there now are getting a ton of work. You have Thayer Munford, who's the one returning starter at left tackle, and he is actually sitting out most of the spring due to a back injury. So he has not been getting a whole lot of reps, or actually hasn't practiced at all, I should say. The remaining guys at tackle right now, there's 3 guys. Brandon Bowen, who was an offensive guard for Ohio State 2 years ago and sat out last year after having a broken bone in his leg. It needed several surgeries to get it corrected. Right now, we're waiting to see on him. He's back healthy, and he could be a mainstay at one of these tackle positions, probably the right tackle position once Thayer Munford comes back. And you have Josh Alabay, who was a backup last year, filled in at the end of the year. And then, of course, you've got redshirt freshman Nicholas Petit-Ferrer, who is also doing quite a job right now and really turned a lot of heads. So my guess is it'll end up with Munford and Bowen as the 2 starters, with Alabay and Petit-Ferrer as the backups at the tackle position. The guard position, you have Wyatt Davis, who started the Big Ten championship game in the Rose Bowl after Demetrius Knox went out with an injury, and he is getting rave reviews. He's done an outstanding job. I fully expect him to be manning one of the guard positions. Right now, the other guard position is Gavin Cupp, and he's a guy that's been in the program. I think he's a third-year sophomore, maybe a junior at this point. Let me just, for the interest of getting this right, he is actually a 4th-year junior. So he's been kind of biding his time, and he's in there right now at guard. Although my belief is that when Jonah Jackson, who's transferring from Rutgers, enrolls in the summer, and he started 2 seasons at Rutgers, one at center and one at guard. It's my belief that I think Jonah Jackson's probably going to be the guy at that other guard position. And that leaves the center position. And right now you've got Josh Myers is getting all the first team reps there. He is backed up by Matthew Jones, a redshirt freshman. He was an outstanding prospect coming out of New York. And then they've got Harry Miller, who is a true freshman, who is, believe it or not, currently on a mission trip to Nicaragua to finish out his high school year at Buford, Georgia High School. And he has actually been FaceTimed into meetings at Ohio State with the offensive line coach, Greg Studrawa, to discuss with him what it's going to take for him to play as a true freshman. So while he's not on campus, this is how it is in 2019. You've got FaceTime to bring you up to date on where you need to be. So that'll give you an idea of what the 2 deep kind of looks like right now. I think between those 7 or 8 guys, they're going to find a great 5-man unit to take this thing forward, which is unusual when you only have the one guy who was a starter on the team last year. Bowen was a starter for half the season the year before, so you have to kind of put a star by that. And Jackson was a starter for 2 seasons at Rutgers, if in fact he comes in and takes that guard position away from Cupp. Then you'll at least have some guys with some starting experience, even if it wasn't at Ohio State and it wasn't last year.
Well, good for Jack Miller. I'm expecting that he's going to come back from that experience a better young man. That's certainly good work out of him in helping others in need there.
we did talk to Coach Day on Monday. We'll have a chance to talk to him again on Friday, I believe, of this week. And then probably Tuesday or Wednesday of next week, we have an interview session with him to kind of preview the spring game. The spring game is set for Saturday, April the 13th. It will be at noon Eastern time. Excuse me, and it'll be covered by Big Ten Network. So people who want to watch Ohio State will be able to check it out. But in terms of what he had to say on Monday, he said he was very happy with how Justin Fields has taken what they've taught him basically in the classroom with the offense and taken it out onto the field, and pleased with his direction and leadership of the offense. So that was probably the first thing. You get beyond that, they talk about how they want to go with veterans at the wide receiver position, which would be Austin Mack, perhaps at the flanker, moving over from split end, Benjamin Victor at split end, and KJ Hill as the H receiver. And then you sprinkle in Chris Olave, who made a great stride there at the end of last year, possibly the true freshman Garrett Wilson, Jalen Harris, Jalen Gill. Those are some of the names that we're hearing on a recurring basis right now in terms of the wide receiver position. We covered the offensive line a little bit ago. I think that in terms of the tight end position, you have Luke Farrell as the returning starter, and he's outstanding in what he has shown. Rashad Berry is also in that mix. And Jeremy Ruckert, outstanding pass catcher as well, will be back for his sophomore year. And Coach Day and Coach Kevin Wilson, the offensive coordinator, and the tight ends coach both said that there is a potential that they could play two tight ends at once going forward. So that's a lot of what we're hearing in terms of the offense. Over on the defensive side, Coach Day said he has been very happy with the installation of the new defense with Greg Madison and Jeff Hafley serving as the co-coordinators in a large result. Very happy with how the players have taken to the new system. They want to see in theory and in on the field how it all plays out, I guess, going forward. And again, it's kind of hard to gauge when you're going against Ohio State's offense, which may, do certain things. You may see other things, obviously, in the fall, and people may find other ways to attack the defense. But I think that they are very excited about getting back to playing outstanding defense at Ohio State in 2019. Behind those guys, you have 9 starters back. And the good thing is that, while it was not a great year for the Ohio State defense, you got so much experience for so many of those guys who are coming back. So we'll see how it all shakes out, I guess, this fall. But Coach Day, very happy from what he said with what he's seen so far out of the defense.
Certainly not rare to see an Ohio State tight end go to the NFL and play pretty well at that level. Jeff Hireman would be the most recent example of that, but they just don't pile up.
Nick Van Nett with the Seahawks as well has done an outstanding job, yeah.
Absolutely, that's right. But it's certainly not uncommon just to see that they're not a focal point at the offense. As I review some of the tight end numbers here from last year, Luke Farrell, 20 catches for 205 yards and a touchdown.
Yeah, they didn't use him very much.
For 78.
They did not use him much, and they had wide receivers, obviously, high reception guys with McLaurin and Campbell and KJ Hill. They all had big numbers. So, I'm excited to see if they do incorporate the tight end this year, what that'll look like.
All right, Steve. Thanks for stopping by. We always appreciate the time. Hopefully we can track you down next week and get everyone set for the spring game.
Yep. All right.